So this video is going to be all about W3C compliance. So it's something I've been looking into recently, and I'm just trying to really familiarize myself with all of the different acronyms of SEO. So I decided to search and find out exactly what it is, but I thought what better than to actually, have you over the shoulder and see me do it. So I don't yet know what it is exactly. I've got a generic idea, and I just wanted to basically share this information with any of you who are also wondering or just unfamiliar with what this is, as it's obviously part of SEO and it's very highly important for you to know. So I found this blog post which is called polydemicdigital.com. Polemic.digital.com, sorry about that. And yeah, basically this has a really good explanation on exactly what W3C compliance is and whether you need it or not, so how much of a difference it actually makes to your website ranking. So they did have a snippet which was in Google, which was really informative, which was a short paragraph explaining it. I also wanted to highlight that inside of this video, because if you do answer a question direct, then it gives you a real good chance of actually getting the snippet position. So if I was to just show you how they've actually done that, what is W3C? Yeah, so if you see, they pop up right there, you see, so they've answered it right here. And if you look on the paragraph, it's this one here. So that's the one, so you can see, obviously, I think it's usually in between 70 and 100 and something characters. I've got a video on that if you want to go and see how many characters and everything it is, but gives you a good chance of getting this snippet. So you can see that, and it's within the first few paragraphs. You really need to target that. But yeah, so a business is by the web developers and also SEO agencies. W3 compliance. I've written about the benefits of W3 compliant code before, but my perspective has changed over time, and I feel it's a bit important to point out the full W3 compliance is not a definitive requirement for an effective website. Okay, so many websites don't have it, and the reason why it really sparked my interest is because I was doing a bit of research on one of my competitors, and I could see that it basically, when I done the page analysis, it bring up that they was not W3 compliant. So I kept seeing this. Where was it again? Somewhere down here. See, so you can see here it's in red, which is telling me that they're not they don't have this validity. Okay, so it says, so this is the definition of what W3C compliance is. So W3C compliance basically means that the HTML and CSS code that a website is built with is fully compliant with the standards set by the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C for short. Okay, so that's what that stands for. So whenever you see that, that's what it stands for, World Wide Web Consortium, yeah, or Consortium. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced. And then we've got the W3C International Standards Organization, founded by an inventor of the web. They developed the standards of which the World Wide Web is run. You'd think that making sure your website's code complies with these standards is pretty important, and it is up to a certain point. Okay, so it's not everything from what I'm gathering already. And what was interesting is I actually found the inventor of the web, which I never knew. So this is quite an interesting post. So Tim Berners-Lee is the founder of the World Wide Web, and you can see his date of birth there, and he's classed as an engineer, which I've realized that big inventors and whatever else are always scientists and engineers. That's how they refer to, which is really interesting. And you can see obviously all the information on him and whatever else over here. So I'd imagine very, very hugely intelligent man. But yeah, so let's have a look. So you can easily find out if your website's code is W3C compliant. Simply submit your website URL to the W3C validator tool, and you'll get an overview of all the errors in your code, and you'll almost certainly get all of the errors. It's very unlikely your website's code complies to all of the W3C's standards. I say errors because they are not really errors. The W3C standards are extremely strict with no room for interpretation. So very little niggle in your code, every small deviation from the W3C's strict standards, so he's highlighted that they're very strict standards, will generate an error in this validation tool. W3C compliance for browsers. But most browsers are flexible pieces of software that are built to deal with a wide range of different sorts of HTML and CSS code, and will probably render your websites perfectly regardless of how many errors the validation tool shows. Often, web developers have to use shortcuts and non-compliant code to make something work in a particular way on a website. And while the results in validation errors, it doesn't hinder a website's functionality at all. So that means if you actually create code and, add code, like in my last video, I was actually showing you how to code your website to basically instruct your CMS, content management system, or WordPress to automatically update your website, so you don't have to do that. So you can be hands off on holiday somewhere and still taking money, and having no worry of security breach. So that was a specific code that I altered inside of that. So it's saying that has no effect on your ranking according to whether it complies with the W3Cs, which is obviously very important to know. Okay, quite the contrary. Sometimes you have to break the walls of the W3C to get something to work exactly how you want it in every browser. So W3C compliance for SEO. There is also the misconception that search engine crawlers require a website's code to be 100% W3 compliant, or else they will rank your site lower in the search engine results pages. A lot of SEO agencies recommend that you make every web page on your site fully W3C compliant. This is often a costly endeavor and quite unnecessary. Search engine crawlers, like browsers, are sturdy and flexible pieces of software that can index almost any type of code, regardless of the errors it contains. So it's saying that the search engine bots are so intelligent and so advanced that they can understand your page and what it's about, and overlook those W3 compliant errors, and still kind of rank you for what it is you're trying to go for, or what they feel is the best for the user experience. Okay, for proper crawling and indexing, a search engine will need to be able to distinguish the different elements of a web page, e.g. style, navigation, and content, and will need to be able to interpret the meaning of the content, which it does through analyzing the content itself and markup code that is used to style the content. Clean, compliant HTML and CSS code help in the process. Compliant code makes it easier for search engine crawlers to identify the content, what the content on a web page is, and what the content means. But 100% compliance means zero errors in the W3C validation tool is not only often too hard to achieve, especially if your website is advanced functionality, but unnecessary as well. The code just needs to be sufficiently well structured and tidy for search engines to be able to distinguish style, navigation, and content. So bad code is okay. No, bad code is not okay. It's okay to have an idea to strive towards compliant code. A website with hundreds of W3C validation errors is not a good thing. It's likely that the errors cause the site to display differently in some web browsers, and worse, not work at all, and can cause all sorts of trouble for both users and search engines. But if your website's code only shows a couple of handfuls of critical errors, especially if they're only small warnings, there really is little need to fix them. Okay, so that is it in a nutshell. So what I've actually gathered from this is that basically, although it's important and you should strive to achieve perfection, because that's what you're constantly trying to improve on. In that sense, you need to kind of have the picture of what perfection would look like in order to move towards it and achieve heights, but I wouldn't focus solely on this. So really just focus on your content, because that seems like what Google wants in this current day and age. But at the same time, if you are a very technical SEO, then you might not be watching this video in the first place. But secondly, obviously, then this would be very important as a part of your schema markup. But in regards to just general, you know, people who are building niche websites for affiliate marketing, then it seems that I would definitely check out, you know, the errors on your site and make sure that they're not major. But if you've got a few minor errors, then it's not something to kind of, you know, flap around about. And you can do that with this tool here. So I'm just going to open this link. I haven't yet checked the tool myself, and this is the tool that I've seen online a lot of the time. So I'm going to just actually save that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder for this firstly. Okay, I'm going to save that, and what I'm going to do is leave a link to this tool inside of the description box so you can actually use it yourself and check out exactly yeah, you know, whether your site has any errors with this tool. I hope the video was helpful to you guys anyway, and if you did like it, make sure to leave a like, and if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe as well.